Who cares? That's the one thing I've started to kind of let go of.
Yeah.
The more I do little things like these are the ones that I'm doing, you know, and it's just like, who fucking cares, man? I used to worry so much about like, well, this person's gonna think this, and this person's gonna say that, and they're gonna think I'm an idiot, and blah blah blah. And I'm just whatever. Who cares? Who cares? Somebody will like my stupid sense of humor. Somebody will like my weird quirkiness.
Interviews are those. I remember back in the day, Dan Gallagher and the other guy from Much Music, and even George Strombolopoulos.
I got punched out at a Dan Gallagher. Did you? Yeah, it was a dance thing that they came to our school.
Oh shit!
And I was so stoked, man, because like I'm the metal kid, right?
Yeah.
I'm the rock and roll guy. And I was just like, yeah, Dan Gallagher's coming to our school. Yeah, right on. And I pissed this one guy off. I was friends with his girlfriend, and he sicked his brother on me at this.
What the fuck?
Dude, I remember standing there, and I'm on the dance floor, and you know, I'm doing my thing, and I'm dancing, and I'm having a good time with these girls and stuff, and all of a sudden I see this guy come down, and he's coming down the stairs, and I just look at him, and I go, shit, man, I feel bad for whoever gets in that guy's way. And he's coming right for me, and I'm like, he's gonna go around me, isn't he? Okay, no. And he comes right up to me, and he's just like, he said something about his brother, and then just, goosh!
Oh!
And knocked me flying through the people that I was with. I just got up, I screamed like a little girl, and I ran all the way friggin' home that night, man. I turned and fucking ran. Oh. And then that night, there was like a crazy, well, for Owen Sound, where I came from, like a riot that kind of happened, right? It was like fights happened all night that night. Things got out of control. It was in the newspaper, and I was like, man, I was lucky I just got one lump.
No shit.
So, yeah, that's my
living the vida loca.
Story. And there we go. And then we're off.
Fucking hey. Ah, shit. Hey, welcome to Keeping the Shred Alive. Your host, Steve Ricardo. How's it going? Thank you for coming. Smash the like. This is something completely out of the fucking ordinary. We're doing something different, and I don't care. So we're sitting here with Dave Benedict from Default, and amongst other amazing things that he's done over the years. We're just shooting the shit, right? Because this is why you guys watch this show, because there is no rhyme or fucking reason. It's life, and we're having fun. So, much like that story. It's funny, because you know, I remember I was supposed to go to grad with one of my girlfriends at the time. We were having a huge fight.
One of your girlfriends, huh?
Yeah. Well, you know, you're in high school. The minute you play guitar, even if you suck at it, it didn't matter. You got a guitar. And then that would just set the landscape of all this shit that we've done.
That's why we picked up
guitar.
Yeah.
So yeah, it turned into a big fight similar to that. And yeah, anyway, good luck. So let's start with the basic stupid stuff, why we're all here. Music, right? So I know what got me into music, and you know, my grandmother buying me a Twisted Sister cassette, the one with Dee Snider and the Bone, and my grandma being
hungry.
Yeah, right, and my grandma being Spanish and didn't speak any fucking English, and I'm like, wow, cool, why'd you buy me this? And in her Spanish voice, you know, she says, he looked hungry. He's got a bone in his hand with no meat on it, so I thought I'd contribute money to. I'm like, wicked. So that's how that started. How did you get to where you got to as far as playing bass? Like, what was?
Well, it's kind of an odd story because growing up, I grew up in such a non-musical household. My parents didn't listen to music.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the radio. We had a radio. We had a hi-fi, one of those old wooden ones. There's no records in it. My dad listened to AM radio. That's all I remember in the house. You know, so I don't recall my mom dancing around, listening to music or anything like that, or my dad having his favorite bands or anything. No, there was no influence there. But I came home, it was grade 4, and my dad asked me if I wanted to take drum lessons.
Oh, sweet.
which completely came out of left center because I never thought my dad was even into music.
Right.
He was going to take them with me.
Oh,
so him and I
shit.
took drum lessons together for a little bit. Yeah. And that's kind of how I started. But I didn't even have, like, when I went to drum lessons, I didn't have, like, a drummer that I liked.
Nothing.
I didn't have a band that I didn't
Cold
have.
turkey.
No, yeah, I just went in there and you know, I just thought the drums were obviously cool.
Yeah.
They're big and loud and everything, right? You get me hit shit.
No shit, yeah.
And so, yeah, I started playing, and then how I started getting into bands was one of the guys that I went to drum lessons together because my drum teacher moved away, but we liked him so much that I commuted a couple towns over to
Well, that's cool, yeah.
Me and another student that my drum teacher saw potential in the two of us. I don't know why, but he saw something, right?
Perfect,
so,
yeah.
so anyways, the guy that I used to commute with or go to drum lessons, his dad would take us one week, and then my dad would take us the next week. And his dad and him, they listened to music. They loved it, right?
Sweet.
And they were into all the glam metal and like Poison, Motley Crue and stuff like that. Def Leppard.
Oh, sweet.
Hearing like Pour Some Sugar On.
Yeah.
It blew my little mind, right? It was, and then I started to venture into other stuff. What really got me into I'll tell you how I bought the first tape that I ever got.
Yeah.
Okay, so this probably happened right around the same time. I can't quite put the pieces together on the timeline, but we went to a family friend's house, and their son had a VHS tape of the movie Trick or Treat. Do you remember that movie?
Yeah. Holy shit.
So
yeah.
I remember watching that and going, that is the coolest shit ever. That is so awesome. And I automatically was just drawn to heavy metal.
Yeah.
The look of it, the everything, the aesthetic of it was just so cool.
Yeah.
And at the time, I had no idea that Gene Simmons was in that movie, right? And
it was the be-all, end-all of all those guys from the 80s. And,
yeah. And so I went to the tape store the next day. I went to, I guess it was A&A, and in the mall. And I went in there and just simply said, I need some heavy metal. And like, well, what do you want? I'm like, I don't know. I just want some heavy metal.
Yeah.
And they took me to Alice Cooper Killers, and I bought that up. Yes, now, but at that time I was looking for metal.
Yeah.
And the heaviest song on there was Under My Wheels.
Yeah.
And I was just like, this isn't fucking with fire.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I'm looking for.
Almost like borderline meatloaf, you know?
Yeah. I needed something to tear my face off.
Yeah.
Something that was aggressive, and something that was loud, and something that was gonna piss off my parents.
Totally.
Right? And so I tried to return the tape, and they're like, no, you can't return this. You've opened it. And I'm like, well, this isn't heavy metal. You didn't give me heavy metal. I want heavy metal. So I started looking, and I found Megadeth, So Far, So Good, So What. And I took that home, and that tore my face off.
No shit, eh?
That, just the beginning of that album, just, right? And so, yeah, that was kind of how I started getting into music, and then it was Ozzy, and I really got into Maiden.
Yeah.
Just the album artwork alone drew me in, right? And then obviously what's behind that.
Yeah.
It's fucking killer music, right? So, that was kind of my introduction.
Sweet.
Yeah, and then just kind of blossomed from there.
That's really cool, yeah, because, your parents didn't have that. So you came from not even a stepping stone, just, all right, I'm coming in cold turkey, where my parents was opera and, Anna Muscuri and Barbra Streisand. But it was always cranked in the house, right? So there was always some sort of music, and my parents were always... They didn't play anything, but they always encouraged me, you know, hey, you should play drums, hey, you should play bass, and hey, you should play guitar. So I was always pushed into different things. And oddly enough, I was kicked out in grade 7 from band because this guy's got no hope to get about here.
I think I got a U in grade 4.
What the hell's a U?
I think it stands for useless. That's what I wanted to know too. I'm like, what the freak? What's a U?
What's a U?
Yeah, just give up, son. Just pack.
Be a farmer.
Yeah.
Deliver for FedEx. Holy shit. Yeah, I mean, you know, and then you turn around the clock, you know, 30 years later, 40 years later, it's like, yeah, I fucking toured and everything. So my mom always said, you should go back. I'm like, cost my money a couple times. Yeah.
Yeah, you know,
but that's cool though. So how did you establish a stepping stone for drummers? Like, who did you cling on to when they started showing that?
Oh, geez. I mean, you know, at that time, it was all Motley Crue, right? So
Tommy
Lee.
Yeah, absolutely.
And yeah, I didn't. The thing is, I didn't stick with drums all that long.
But it got you going, yeah.
It got me going. Got my foot in the door. And I did it for a while, and of course I was young, right? So I didn't want to practice.
Yeah.
Right. I wanted to go to my friends' birthday parties. I missed out on stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Because I had to do my half-hour practicing.
Yeah.
And I got to the point where I would put up comic books on my music stand and just so my mom would hear me play, right?
Yeah.
And I wish that I had taken it more seriously. Obviously, you know, looking back, but hey, everything takes you
it has a road.
Yeah, right. So, yeah, I stuck with drums for a little bit and then gave it up. And then when I got into high school and I really started getting into music, then I kind of brought it back out and wanted to play, and I wanted to jam with people. And then after that, I realized I didn't want to be behind a drum kit. I wanted to get out front. I didn't want to lug around a drum kit. I wanted to be closer to the girls.
Yeah.
And I wanted to run around and be a maniac. Yeah. That's what I wanted to do, right? And the drums weren't gonna...
Got you back, yeah.
Yeah, right? You had to get to Motley Crue status to be able to get out front and do somersaults and shit, right? So
the Tommy shit, totally. Yeah, that's cool. You know, it brings everything together. When you got into bass playing, what set the stone for you as far as that was concerned?
What got me into it?
Yeah, like what really? I want to be this guy. I want to be this guy. That kind of thing.
Well, I tried playing guitar first, and I was like, this is too hard.
Spoken like a bass player. That's cool.
And then I went. I wanted to be a singer.
Oh, sweet.
And then realized that I had a really shitty voice.
That makes two of us. Okay.
Yeah. And so I'm like, my options are really starting to dwindle here. Yeah. I guess I'm gonna have to take up bass.
Bass or the kettlebell?
Yes, I'm gonna. Yep. It's that or the keyboard.
Ooh, man.
You know, now looking at the keyboard would have been really freaking cool. But once again, I don't want to be tied behind something. Unless I have a guitar.
Right? Yeah.
Chicks take guitar?
I don't know. My mom bought me one, and it sat in the closet for years because I took piano lessons. That was the only schooling that I had. And my parents said, okay, so you're at the age we're going to put you in hockey or we're going to put you into music class. And let me try hockey. And I got hit within 4 hours of even getting on the ice, and I came out crying like a schoolgirl. I went, I don't want to play hockey anymore, that hurt. So the keyboard won't hit back. So then they put me in piano class for about 2 years.
Nice.
And I hated it. Fucking hated it. But I was able to use that later on in life. Looking back like that. But at that point, I was like, fuck this dude. It wasn't like 15 years later where I'm sitting composing with somebody and I went, oh yeah. And all of a sudden these notes started coming into my head. Oh yeah. Thanks, Mom.
Yeah. And that's where I'm happy that I started out playing drums, because when I started getting into bass, when I first got into bass, it felt like it was kind of I also got into it because I figured if I picked up the bass, I'd get a job. Like I would be able to get a gig, right? Because nobody wanted to play the bass at that time. Everybody wanted to be the guitar player or the singer, right? Nobody wanted to pick up the bass. So that was another reason why I got into it. But then, you know, the more you start to get into something and the more that you start to really absorb it, the more you start to love it. And the more you start to see the nuances of it and the differences in it, right? Because initially I saw it as a default, as a backup, as a kind of the lazy man's guitar player. I saw it more as like, no, it is its own instrument, and it has its own separate purpose, right? And you can tell a guitar player that plays bass, or you can tell a bass player that is a bass player, right? And so that's how I ended up playing the bass, and then I really started getting into guys like Flea, right? That was when everything changed for me musically. Like it just a switch just kind of flipped with me as far as the instrument goes, right? Before that, it was like, it was cool and I dug it, but you know, I was listening to a lot of guys that were just kind of filling in the bottom, right? And then all of a sudden it was like, what the fuck is this guy doing? Holy shit, that's right out front. And he's playing this crazy, like, what's he even doing? It totally melted my mind.
Became his own entity as far as a bass player.
Totally, right? He was the one in that point in my life that just really accentuated that instrument and made it cool, and made it really cool to want to be a bass player. Right? Because when you think of the Chili's, you think of, first
thing comes is the funk, is the bass. Right? First thing you hear in any other songs, it's driving force, it's the forefront, it's what establishes that particular band. To me, guitar not so much, more funk in the back, but the drums and him together, Flea and Smith, just those two guys, are a reckoning force when it comes to. And I guess with you playing a little bit of drums, it must have helped you somewhat as far as.
Well, that's what I was saying, is that, you know, I'm glad that I did have that background in drums first, that it gave me able to connect as anybody is that knows another instrument. You can connect with that instrument a little bit more if you know a little bit about it.
The building blocks and how everything goes.
Absolutely, just like anything in life, right? When I went to art school, even though I didn't want to be a web developer, they still taught you 2 courses of web design so that you can communicate better with the people you're working with. So to learn another instrument, to have a little bit of background in other ones, it comes in super helpful, right? Totally does. Nice. Makes you be able to speak the language a little bit better.
That's cool. You mentioned web design, so how long have you been doing web design for?
I haven't, and I don't. Oh man, no. I realized that really, I went for graphic design.
Okay,
so
graphic design,
So when I went to school for that, like I said, there was 2 courses on that, and I was pretty excited about it, learning how to design a page and be able to make websites and stuff. And then when I got into it really, really early on, I realized that this is the opposite side of the brain that I like to use.
Cool.
Like, this is more math stuff and not so designy and making, you know, I want to make things look pretty. I want to be able to design, right? Which you do in web design and all that kind of stuff. But that wasn't quite what I wanted to do. I was looking more at like advertising and stuff like that, right? Like that's what I was thinking.
That kind of ties in with the photography that you do?
It does, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've done, I mean, I've seen your work. It's out there. It's awesome.
Well, thank you.
I mean, the clarity, because I deal with so many photographers in my life doing either photo shoots or making something, and I've seen a lot of concert friends of mine who do stuff, and then there's certain individuals that I come across that you can tell they've not just taken a photo of something, but it's like they pulled something from it. And that's what I'm getting when I see your stuff. Like, I saw the outdoor shots you did a couple days ago.
Yeah.
And I was just staring at that would just look wicked as a poster because it looks three-dimensional.
Yes.
I don't know how you do that, but it's trippy. It's like what's he doing there? But it just brings the photo to life, but not just a one-dimensional photo. And that's what I like about what you've done. And like, is that just the eye or?
It is, and it's kind of like practicing. I practice every day at it. Like every day I go for a walk. Every time I look at something, I'm looking at composition. So I've gotten to the point where I'm getting pretty quick at just coming into a scenario and just looking where my thirds are, looking where all the lines are, looking where leading lines are heading, and that's part of good composition, right? Is leading that eye to where you want it to go. And also having that interest, as you say, like the three-dimensional look.
Yeah.
I'm always looking for a really cool background, but I'm also looking for something really cool in the foreground to look at. Right? And where they lie in, conjunction of one another.
Yeah.
So and I did this when I was working for BC Hydro for a while in Vancouver, and it was literally sucking the soul out of me. Not to say anything bad about the company or anything like that, because it was a great one to work for, but it just wasn't
what you want to do,
right?
We've all been there.
Yeah,
I've had the shit jobs, great jobs, but it's not me.
It wasn't fulfilling.
Thanks for coming. You gotta go. Yeah.
So I desperately needed to get out of that corporate world. So what I did every lunch break was I set myself a goal and I would go out for a walk.
Sweet.
And I would be like, I need to have one banging picture before I go home.
Yeah.
At least one. And it becomes a challenge when you only have a half an hour break and you've got like a 15-minute circumference, right? That you can go, right? So you've got about like this around that building that you can get to. So you've got to find something. I have to find something every day that makes me go, that's cool. That's a great picture, right? So every day I'm looking at stuff and I'm just, so I developed that eye, right? Like I think early on I had a bit of a natural, like I just could look at something and
you take a photo, you kind of know where to go from.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But it takes practice and it takes right. You can develop it. Anybody can develop it, right?
You just need to work at it.
You do, and you need to know the fundamentals. You need to know those rules, right? Which I learned when I went to school. I learned color design. I learned art history. I learned so many other great layout design and all this kind of stuff, which all of it
flows together.
All of it comes back around, right? So
that's cool.
And as in music, it's all about balance.
Yeah, and that's what I noticed too in the last few years. A lot more. The last time I went on the road, a lot of guys that are in other bands are doing the same thing. They're doing photography, like even Lamb of God, the singer. Like he's always walking around with a camera, taking photos of stuff. Kiko from Megadeth, same thing. He's got his camera, and these guys are getting more into the social aspect of taking photos and being creative because they're already in that genre of music. It's all entertainment and it's all a visual stimulant for everybody.
Absolutely.
And I think it's more coming to life, even with expensive cameras or even cell phones, I've noticed.
You know what? It doesn't matter. You get a lot of people debating this, but it doesn't matter your gear to be creative.
No, and I agree with that because I get in arguments too. Where we went to Mexico and here I am walking around. I've got my $400 camera Canon. I was like, oh, camera, phone. Leave the camera in the freaking hotel room because it's just so much to fucking carry around. And with the phones today, technology, and I'm just using that concept of taking photos, and it works just as good. And then I get an argument. Well, you can't. It's in the eye.
It is.
If a guy can do it,
the majority of those pictures that you see that I post, the majority of them are done with my cell phone.
yeah,
Right? Because it's the ease, right?
Yeah.
And lugging around that DSLR everywhere can be cumbersome,
Yeah.
right? You know, so and my cell phone's always there.
yeah.
So
That's exactly it. Right?
so many people get tied up in the gear when it shouldn't be about the gear.
Yeah.
You can advance. You can obviously get a clearer picture. You can do more with better gear, but you can do so much with what you have with the GoPro. If you had a GoPro, right? Like that's how I started getting into shooting music videos. The first Citizens Unite video was a couple GoPros, and we just did a couple shots of it each too. And then I look at it now, and it makes me cringe because it's certain things and technicalities and whatnot. But that got us a lot of views.
Yeah.
It did its job.
That's half the battle.
And it was a learning step, and it was a learning curve, right? Because that's the thing, you're never going to learn how to swim if you don't jump in the water, right? That's what I've come to learn through all of this is, I make a lot of mistakes, a crap ton of them. But if I get over those fears of showing my mistakes and just doing them, not being afraid of them, I'm going to advance. I can feel so much quicker, right?
Quantity over quality. The quality will get better as you keep putting out more quantity. And that's one thing I've learned over the years. Same thing. I mean, I do my show and I got 2 cell phones, right? And if I do my videos, I got a gimbal and my cell phone. 99% of the videos that I've done is cell phone and then a GoPro. And I've done videos for different bands myself. I usually shoot every 2 weeks when I'm shooting a video. Again, the more you do it, the better you'll get. Oh, okay, I didn't do that last time, I did it this time. Or I'll change the lighting, or I'll move my phone, or I won't go against the sun, or these things. How you learn, and as you do, you get better. And people go, wow, wicked video. What are you using? Samsung. But it's getting the product out, like you said.
Yeah.
Right? And rather do that than wait, no, I'll do it next year, I'll do it in 6 months when I buy a camera, I'll do it. Don't wait, just do it, because that's how you get better at something. And that's one thing that I've noticed over the years for anybody. Right? Otherwise, you just get complacent, you never get it done, and you don't keep practicing.
Absolutely.
So, cool. I mean, I like the photography. Do you do any of that while you're on the road as well?
I do. That's one thing that I guess if you'd say regrets, right? That I wish that I had gotten into this earlier. I bought my first digital camera off of Danny, my drummer in default. And it was a 1 megapixel camera. 1 megapixel camera. And that wasn't even when I first started getting into it. I would always carry around a video camera. Yeah. And I'm interested to look back on those because that was way before I was even ever thinking composition or anything like that, right? But I was just capturing the moments and tour life and all that kind of stuff, right?
You should put it out. That's one thing I've noticed is a lot of people, like I've kept all my videos. I got boxes of videos when I first started playing. First hit the road, first do this, first time for everything, and I've got them. My wife keeps telling me, you gotta, spend some time, put them on a DVD, put them on a computer, put something out.
Yeah.
This nostalgia thing is starting to come forward to a lot of people that have been in this industry for a long time. Reconciliation, going back to your videos, what did I do 20 years ago, or 30 years ago? Should I watch this alone or go there? Because I don't know what's on this tape, hotel room, oh shit, right? But you don't know. So, but that's the cool thing, because you don't realize what you're getting into until 20 years later going, I take all that shit.
That really happened. That really happened. I wasn't just making shit up.
Yeah. Because that's the cool thing about, that's the rawness of it, right? And I know bands that are doing that now, but a lot of it I'm seeing, especially like TikTok, those are all rehearsed. To me, a lot of that stuff's rehearsed. I get more of a kick out of someone shooting a camera 20 years ago and watching it, where people weren't in front of cameras back then. We didn't have cell phones. We didn't have cameras all over. So when you recorded somebody on a VHS, like the big, the one, or even the JVC one, the little red one, that's what my parents got me. People were like, oh, cool, camera, hi, and they do weird, stupid shit or whatever. Where today I find it more rehearsed because they know there's somebody always looking.
Oh, yeah.
So they're gonna act it up or ham it up kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should definitely, you know.
Yeah, I've got to scour through that stuff because I've got some cool stuff. I captured this one moment which was really cool. Going back to Tommy Lee, we were playing a festival with them with Methods of, well, it wasn't Methods of Mayhem. It was Tommy Lee. It was after the Methods thing.
Yeah, the second album.
Yeah. And Jerry Cantrell was out on this as well, and I captured Tommy Lee playing Man in the Box with Jerry. Yeah, and I also I'm pretty sure I captured this too. We played a festival with them in Dallas, and the Rooster came out and sang the Rooster with Jerry.
And you got
and the Pantera boys were there too. That was, Dime and Vinny were there, and it was like one of those moments where you look back later and you're like, did that happen? Yeah, I think it did.
Yeah.
I think it did, man. That was pretty cool. And I think I captured it.
You gotta get that out, right? That's the cool thing about nostalgia, you know, and touring, and just having something, whether it's family or anything, just having it on tape to look back, and especially if it's something that's memorable as that, you know.
Yeah.
Definitely put it. Anything that comes to mind that right off the bat, like from touring, like really, you'd always remember.
That I'll always remember.
Other than the stuff with like dying, like that's already a big chunk of it right there.
Yeah, man. Oh, geez, there's so many cool moments. I've been very lucky, very fortunate, hanging out with Alice Cooper on his bus in Germany. You know, like talking golf with him.
Nice.
Meeting Mick Jagger.
I remember that. Yeah, you told me that a couple of weeks ago. That was one of those moments.
Totally. Yeah.
So you guys were in the studio in LA, right?
Yes, that was Henson Studios. Yeah. So it used to be Charlie Chapman's compound.
Okay.
Way back in the day, and then the Jim Henson company bought it off them. There's a big Kermit the Frog, and you've got to drive up to this gate
to let you in.
There's a security guard there and everything. So we were in there that first day meeting our producer Bob Marlette, and I was in the control room with him, and I had to go use the can. So we're gonna be right back. Go use the can. And as soon as I walked out the door, Mick Jagger walked out the door, but right across the hall from us, and I was just gobstruck. Like, oh no! Say something cool. Say something cool. Say something cool. What you doing here, Mick? That was not cool. Yeah. So that was my
went over okay though. He didn't look.
No, he wasn't too put off, you know, and he made small talk with me.
That's cool.
Yeah, and then they passed us, both him and Keith Richards, one day when we were hanging out in the front area, the outside waiting area, and both of them got out and did one of those to us. So, all of us were just like, oh yeah. So
that's cool. Yeah, nice. Yeah, stuff like that. When you told me that, I laughed so hard. You know, we've all got those, you know, moments you meet your idol or something. Okay, you got a light? Like, I don't even smoke. Did I just say that? What the fuck? Fuck. Yeah, shit. That's awesome. What else came across my mind I want to ask you? Any particular thing, like any gear that you haven't, you know, that you've done so many tours and you're always in room. You've got your bass, you've got your amp, you've got everything else. What's that one piece of something you always need to have with you on the road?
You know what? Probably the thing that I really like to have on the road with me is my acoustic bass.
That's cool.
It's kind of like my security blanket in a way. It's been with me all around the world, and the bass that I can just have in the back lounge, and I can just pick it up, and I can play. I don't have to find an amp, plug it in, all that kind of stuff, right? It's just pick it up, and I can play it, and I can hear it. And I don't know, I think that that is the probably the one piece of gear that has been with me and that I use on a regular basis. It's coming to the hotel room with me, you know, and it's just it's always been there. Man.
Yeah, it's one of these. Yeah, exactly. Totally. You know, you mentioned through the history of just videotaping everything and moving forward and remembering all this stuff. What do you think is the future for what's happening right now? What's music? How is it going to entertain and how is it going to open up? Do you think?
Well, I was having this conversation.
Not going to happen. No idea who that was. Sorry, dude.
That's all right. Yeah, I was having this conversation the other day. I think it's going to be robot eyes. You know, I think we're going to have our eyeballs replaced, and there's going to be cameras there, and I think it's going to be kind of cool and also kind of dangerous at the same time, you know. But I think that's what it's going to be, and all of our entertainment is going to be, hardwired into us.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're starting already now with the holograms. I mean, they tried doing it with Michael Jackson. They're trying doing it with Dio. They want to do Dio as a hologram show in Vegas. And I don't know, man. I mean, I'd rather... He's dead, he's gone, he's passed. God bless him. I think bringing somebody back to a hologram for a show is kind of... The optics is weird.
Yeah,
they want to do that for the future. I don't know how that's going to pan out.
I don't know. I think it's kind of cool though, because think about, well, yes and no, I guess, right? Because it's like if you were there to have seen Hendrix, that's kind of a cool bragging right, you know. And then all of a sudden, if you brought him back and you just got to go and see him on a Thursday night at Caesar's Palace, you know?
Okay, so it's I guess for the ones who haven't seen their idols, like our generation have seen Ben Hale, right? Now Eddie's gone. So the future generation will always know he's a great guitar player. Never got to see him live. Yeah, we got YouTube and everything else, but as far as being there front row to catch a pick from Eddie or to give a high five to Dave, you're not going to see those things anymore. So maybe that aspect is maybe the cool front for seeing like Dio or maybe even Elvis, things like that. For the generation to kind of go back and I've never seen Hendrix. I've never seen Hendrix. Gone before our time. Just to be part of that. Maybe that aspect,
it could be kind
of cool,
it's
right? Kind of the half and half. I'm kind of weirded out by it, but as far as being able to see maybe Vinny and them back together again for a holographic show would be kind of different. But we've lost a lot of our heroes over the years growing up. As we get older, they're going, right? So I'm starting to lose who's carrying the torch as far as moving forward. Other than Zach Wilde and things like that, but even things like that are slowly fading. Since COVID, I don't see a lot of what Zach's doing. Other guitar players, other than YouTube and up and coming guitar players, slashing their videos out there, pushing it. The genre of what we're going to see is definitely changing a lot as far as aspect that I can see.
It is. Well, the one thing that kind of, I guess, is the scary thing is, and you kind of touched on it a little bit, is like the guitar heroes. When have we had a guitar hero like Zach Wilde was probably the last one, right? The last one that I can think of. But music just doesn't seem to be so guitar driven as it used to be,
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. And
it's happened actually a while ago. Slash is a very guitar driven kind of guy. And when he did the first album, Velvet Revolver, they did it without Scott weighing in mind. They just, here's the album, it's all crunchy. Then they found the singer named Scott. When Scott got involved and the next album came out, Libertad, I was actually a little bit thrown off by it because Scott brought in his producers from STP and everything else, and where STP is not a heavily guitar-oriented band, they were able to convince Slash to use a different head, change his tuning, change his style of playing for that album. So when the album came out, I was like, it didn't have that, even at that point, we lost a little bit of Guitar Hero in that album. Now that he went with his own stuff and with Mouse Kennedy, it's coming back again. You got the Guns N' Roses album coming out, things like that. But those heroes are...
Those are the ones that have been around for a while.
The new ones, I don't see.
If we're talking about Zach, we're talking... Rest for the Wicked.
Yeah.
When that came out, which was what, 89? 90?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
So
it's been a long time.
It has been. I mean, there's definitely the guys from the 90s, of course. Like just thinking about it right now. Well, Jerry Cantrell.
Right, yeah, those
right?
guys, yeah.
Guys like that. And there are great guitar players and great players from every
genre.
From every genre.
Yeah.
But yeah, the shredders, the guys that were revealed as shredders and stuff like that
became the household name.
Yeah, like I guess Jack White would be kind of one of those guys.
He's one of the unique players, very.
But I wouldn't call him a shredder.
No, but definitely when you talked about guitar, it would be one that came.
He's an innovator.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Which I guess you're either a shredder or innovator. Those are sort of amalgamated into the same thing. They became a household name as far as guitar playing. There's different guys out there. Even blues is slowly kind of hidden and then kind of dropped down as far as the scenes is concerned. And I'm missing a lot of these guys.
With the exception of guys like Joe Bonamassa, he's
kind
of brought it back out.
He has immensely. Signature Series. He's doing concerts like crazy, and people always talk about him. I haven't really got much of a grasp of him yet. I'm still kind of feeling him out.
Check out some of the Black Country Canadian stuff.
Really good.
That is awesome stuff.
Will do.
Really cool.
Awesome. Thanks for
Yeah.
that. But yeah, just trying to keep the young generation playing, especially with the COVID thing. And now it's fading. I don't think it's ever going to disappear, that's for sure. We're losing venues to play. We're losing the smaller venues that actually mattered as far as a new beginning band at the age of 15, 16 wanting to get into clubs. Clubs are gone. They're slowly closing. I think I'm starting to see that light slowly diminish.
You know what, though? I think, though, that as long as people are hungry for music and people are hungry to make music, you're going to find people that are going to find different avenues.
Yeah.
It might be for the next little while. Outdoor things.
Outdoor things would be awesome.
Yeah, right? And, those were the only shows that I was able to play this last year.
Same.
We're all outdoor ones, right? And I'm happy with that right now. I would love to, I'd like to think that we'd be able to tour through the winter again, because for musicians, that is a great time to tour.
Yeah.
It's a shitty time to tour at the same time, but that's when people are bored and they want to go to shows, right? So, I can't wait for that to come back. But there again, there's gonna be those other outlets, and maybe it's not the clubs, because the younger generation too, are they so much into going to drinking establishments?
No, and I think that's changing, especially in Europe. I've noticed the club feels different. Just by watching some of my friends that are out there now doing shows, the clubs are almost more like almost like renting a hall.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. It's just the band, they've got some merch, they've got alcoholic or non-alcoholic, doesn't matter, but it's more just for the entertainment than for the shows. A lot of them now are YouTube based as far as live. That's increased 10 over foot in the last 6 months as far as live shows, especially with Korn, even Megadeth, before they even got into doing the festivals again 2 weeks ago, they were doing a lot of live shows, review kind of thing. And that's kind of cool. So at least you've got you can stay home, you're comfortable, you can still do a show.
Yeah.
So you've got your hit and misses. It's a matter of you are young and up and coming. How do I get people who I don't know to see me, especially if it's not?
Well, luckily,
this does it.
Like if this wasn't around and COVID happened, it would be so much more detrimental for musicians. Really, right? At least this way, there is a way to get.
There's an avenue.
There is an avenue, and people can see it. We can be shooting this now, and somebody over in Europe can be watching it. Right?
Absolutely.
There was no thought of us doing something like that back when we were in high school.
Oh God,
right?
no. And it's funny because if you go back all those years, I mean, look how many sold out concerts there were. Back when I was growing up with Def Leppard and Motorhead, you just knew, advertising in the paper, that's all you needed to see. The next thing you know, you're in line at Ticketmaster, you get tickets at 6 in the morning if you wanted tickets. And that was the selling feature. These guys didn't have radio, they didn't have video play those days. And now as time's progressed, I think it's easier to get those things done, but then everything sort of dropped back. So you're losing that one essence of excitement of having this stuff happen to you.
It is. It's a weird. It definitely is a bit odd too, because that whole like back when we first started getting into music was the mystique of music too, which I think we've lost a lot of that, right?
Yeah.
The whole like you haven't seen this, like as soon as they come out on stage, like you haven't seen anything from this band since like the last magazine article or their last music video, right? Like, are they gonna wear what they were wearing in the?
What's changed?
Yeah, right.
How's the stage gonna be?
Yeah,
and that's excitement. Okay. I was excited last night, I have to admit. So I'm downstairs, I'm doing some editing, and then my phone goes bloop, and I open it up, and it's Hoogie, and it's an advertisement for Shinedown. Shinedown's coming. Abbotsford Center in March. I'm like, secret password number. I'm like, fuck! And I get on there, a couple tries, finally I got the password. He shoots it over and I got tickets. So I'm down here and I start yelling at the wife. It's like, I got fucking tickets! We're going to Shinedown! Things like that. I mean, I still remember, okay, it's on a lineup, but it's still 11 o'clock at night, and I just bought 2 tickets to fucking Shinedown. That made me so fucking happy. We haven't seen a show in like 2 fucking years, and we're going to a concert, because the last time we went, even to see Shinedown or anybody else, we always go to Tacoma. I like the shows in the States better. The pyro, more pyro. The people are just fucking nuts.
Usually get better merch too because they have the whole thing.
Catalog.
The whole catalog. It doesn't get held back.
I know. It's crazy. And we talked about this before, about the differences in crowds from Vancouver going, I'll just see them next week. When you go to the States or even Tacoma or anywhere, or Bellingham, and they're just nuts, but they're happy nuts. I'm front row with the wife, and she's just relaxing, and I'm just mega moshing in the back, and everyone's having fun and high-fiving, and it's an energetic show. It's fun. The pyro, they're more in the crowd singing along. Here, it's like you can almost hear it cricket. Yeah, it's crazy. As many shows that I've seen, you guys are not excited enough. What the fuck's your problem?
It's too cool. Yeah, just too cool.
I just went surfing and then go snowboarding in an hour. It's like, fuck, man.
I can't show people that I'm really excited because that's just not true.
But yeah, I mean, what's your favorite place to play that you played in the past? For me, it was Prague.
Oh. Well, favorite show. My favorite show was probably actually we did a show. We opened up for Creed in Detroit, and it was 40,000 people. Sweet. Yeah, it was huge. It was massive. And then they had this what we call the
Eagle Rat,
right out into the middle of the crowd, and they were kind enough to let us use the whole stage.
That's cool.
Yeah, and when we did Wasting My Time, and we walked out the solo to the center of that crowd, and our biggest song, right? People going nuts, and there's surrounding 40,000 people around you. Oh man, that feeling.
Yeah.
That feeling right there. I'll never forget that one. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, we did Prague, and second song, and we wanted to do the Canadian anthem because it was Canada Day. We were playing out there, so the singer goes, "We're gonna do the Canadian anthem," and so we just started playing it, and everyone was just singing. I'm like, "This is fucking home, Canada," and I still get goosebumps. It was just everyone festing. Oh, it's cool. It's one of those things that was just memorable that we've always done. Always never want to lose them, just cherish them all. Right? Yeah. You know, memories are fun, right?
They are, man. They are. And I've been lucky to have a lot of them. So, man, we could sit here all night, really, and I could just rattle off.
Yeah.
Rattle.
That's why we chose this. Right? Awesome. That's pretty much all I got to ask you, right? But I do thank you for coming out.
Yeah, man.
Much appreciated. Remember to check him out. I'll put some of his photos on this video, and if you'll share some photos, and I'll post them because your photography is awesome. And you also do this for people like weddings and things like that?
I do. I just did 2 of them this past weekend.
Nice.
So, yeah, we do it all. My wife, she helps me out when it comes to that.
That's cool.
But we do a lot of band stuff too,
Yeah.
right? Like I'm going to be shooting Canoe, his photo shoot here in a couple weeks. I'm meeting up with another local band here tonight, and going to go over a bunch of stuff that they're wanting to do as well. So,
Awesome.
I just like taking pictures.
I'll shoot your information on the page, and then the guys can contact you for awesomeness.
Right on.
Once again, dude,
Yeah.
much appreciated.
Yeah, man.
Subscribe down below. Thank you so much for watching this awesome episode of just shooting the shit and keeping the shred alive. You guys have been awesome. I've been Steve. You guys have been sweet. Dave's been having a great time. All right, thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for the next crazy ass fucking episode. Cheers.